Welcome to Garden-Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today we're going to do a video about watering. Now, the unusual thing about talking about watering right now is we're in January, the end of January actually, in Utah Zone 6/7. Now, typically this time of year we've had a lot of snow, we have completely frozen ground, our temperatures in the daytime is low 40s, all the way down to the low 20s. Nighttime temperatures are in the teens, sometimes single digits. And in some years, like the average temperature will be in the low 20s. During those type of winters, watering is not something we need to think about. But this year, we've had one of the driest winters we've had in decades. They're even saying this possibly could be one of the driest years we've had. And it's not only dry, it's one of the warmest years that we've had. So let me take you around my property, show you what I'm going to water and why I'm going to water it. Now, my property is really small. It's 1/4 of an acre, but we have vastly different areas, vastly different microclimates, and different areas that will need water and different areas that will need water. And it goes the same for plants. Now, one of the main ones that we have is this blue spruce. Now, you would think because it's a large mature tree that is not one that is going to need a lot of water. But you have to know your plant types and you have to know the area that they are located on your property and your own microclimates. Spruces are very shallow rooted. If they're near grass, the root depth could be as shallow as 18 inches. Average, I think, is about 24 inches. They do not have the deep tap roots that explore deeply to gather a lot of water. Now, they have root systems that will spread out beyond the drip line, and that will help them gather a little bit more water. But in areas like this place on my south side, it gets a lot of sun. The ground is drier than other areas on the property. And because it's so warm, this tree is actually growing a little bit. The roots are very active. They'll be active all winter no matter how cold it is. But the roots are still active and it's transpiring, which means water is escaping out through the needles. So to keep evergreen conifers healthy, you do need to check the soil moisture regularly during the winter and make sure that it stays moist enough. So this is one tree that I will possibly be watering. I've got to go dig around and see how wet it is and how frozen the soil is. On this side of my property, the soil tends not to freeze as much as the other sides of my property. Now, in contrast, we have my vitex. Right here, this plant, even though it's a smaller plant and it's a shrub, it has a deeper root system than my conifers. It also is fully dormant. There's no needles, there's no leaves for the water to transpire from. And so I'm going to need to check this also. If it's dry, like 2 inches down, I will probably need to water it. Another one that I'm going to need to think about and watch is this perennial. This is a perennial. I count this as a perennial. It's more of a woody perennial. It's a very low growing butterfly bush. This one is a pugster butterfly bush. And as you can see, it has not gone fully dormant this winter. And so it is transpiring water. But the other thing about these plants is they do have a pretty good root system and they will grow back from the roots if we have dieback in the top, unlike my woody shrubs and my evergreen trees. So I'm going to need to see how dry the soil is here. If it's extremely dry, I will water it. But I am having a hunch that this time of year right now, I will not need to water it because we did have a lot of good moisture in October, even though this is January, and the soil has held on to quite a bit of that moisture. Now, even though these plants are really close to my other plants that I was talking about, these are ones that I am going to for sure water. These are my fig trees. They are on the south side of my house, and they are blocked from all of the moisture that comes through in the north from the northern storms. They're also up against the warmest side of my house. The soil really hasn't frozen on this side of the house this year, and they dry out really quickly. And I want to be able to make sure we have fruit production next year and not cause any stress. So these will for sure be watered. Now, this part of my property is up against the front of my house. It's west facing, but we have this massively large weeping Norway spruce. Now, the weeping Norway spruce I am not going to water because it has really extensive roots. They are shallow, but they extend out all the way through this area here, and they're able to collect a lot of water. So because this is such a large and older tree, I do not feel the need to water it, but I will watch it and see if the needles start changing any color. And if it stays really, really dry, I will need to water the entire property. And to water it, I'm not going to water under the tree, because that's not going to help it. I will need to water this area out here. Now, because this area gets a lot of shade from that Norway spruce, it has stayed a lot wetter than other areas of my property. But there are certain trees and shrubs that I am going to water here. Number one are the evergreen, low-growing shrubs. This one is a honeysuckle, a box honeysuckle. It's evergreen all winter, which means it's transpiring water out of its leaves and has actively growing roots. So this is going to be watered, along with my germander, which is an evergreen perennial for the same reasons. We've got another box honeysuckle over here that needs to be watered. But I'm not going to worry about trees like my little almond right here, because it's got an extensive root system and it is quite wet under it. Another area that I'm going to water is going to be this flower bed up front. It is protected by an overhang, so it does not get a lot of the precipitation. And I've got pansies in here that I want to bloom profusely this spring. My snapdragons and the pansies are still blooming. You can see the cold damage on my chard. I'm not worried about watering the chard because it is a vegetable that I am not harvesting this time of year. If it dies, it dies. It'll just be replaced next year. But I am going to be watering the area around those because of the pansies. One tree that I am going to be watering is this little pawpaw, and I'm going to water it because it was newly planted. It does not have an extensive root system and it needs moisture to survive. And the ground around it does not hold enough moisture to keep it going throughout the winter without rain. The grasses are not going to need water because they have a really fibrous, extensive root system and they are very drought tolerant. And I've never found that my grasses need water over the winter, even if it's drier. Now, if it continues to be dry, I will probably water my entire landscape. But right now the soil is moist enough that I'm not worried about the grasses. Now, another one that I'm not going to water, even though it's a low-growing evergreen perennial, is my lavender, and it's because I know how lavender works. If the ground is frozen, it can tolerate the wet conditions, but we have clay soil that holds on to a bit of water, and if it is not frozen, you get those anaerobic conditions if it stays too wet. And the lavender doesn't like that, and I start to get dieback in the center. Right now the soil is moist enough that I'm not going to need to water, but it is a Mediterranean plant, so we can't let it completely dry out over the winter. Mediterranean plants are used to moisture over the winter and dry summers. So you need to understand the types of plants that you have so that you know if they need water or not. Another larger tree that I'm going to include in watering is my pawpaw, because it naturally grows in riparian areas and it needs a lot of moisture. And you can see where we've had dieback that we've had to cut back in the middle of this tree because I did not recognize that early enough in this tree's life. It needs to stay moist over the winter and through the summer months. So it is going to be watered. Now, this is the north side of my property. It is going to be watered. There are far fewer plants on this side that need to be watered than any of the other sides, with just a couple of exceptions. Now, the reason it doesn't need to be watered as much is because it stays in the shade. It gets the full force of all of the storms that come through, so the soil does not dry out near as fast as other areas of my property, even though I live only on a 1/4 acre, and it's only probably 60 feet away from the south side of my property. Now, one of the larger plants that I always fluctuate back and forth on whether or not I need to water is my globe blue spruce, because it is evergreen, it is shallow rooted, and it does need moisture. It does have a more extensive root system than other plants, but it does, because of the rain shadow and the density of its branches, it doesn't get water underneath it. So what I have to do is water outside of the drip line around it, and I might just do that today. I did do it 2 weeks ago. Other ones that I'm going to water on this north side, even though the soil is sufficiently moist, are my hellebores. Because as you can see, we've got new growth here. They're getting ready to flower, and I don't want to inhibit flowering at all. I want them to have plenty of moisture so that we can have the early spring, late winter flowers. Now, ones that I have difficulty deciding on usually are my pots, because pots tend to dry out really fast, except for these pots for some reason. They are very moist right now, and they are frozen solid, even though there are other areas on my property where the ground is not frozen. Because these are moist and they're frozen, I am not going to water them today, but I do need to continuously check them. My green stalks do not need water because there are no plants that are growing in them, but I will likely water them if they dry out too much because they get really light and they'll blow over in the wind. You know, the water helps keep them sturdy. The other thing is if they dry out completely, it's going to be really hard to wet that soil in the spring when I need to put new plants in it. So I try to keep it semi-moist, but not too wet. Now the surprise is this planter right here. You would think because it's a shallow planter facing the south, it's got the south sun on it, that it would thaw very, very quickly and stay pretty dry. But this has been the most frozen area on my property. It's late in the day, we've had 50-degree temperatures, and it is so frozen I cannot get my fingers in there. So and it has stayed frozen. I haven't found a time during this winter that it has not been frozen. Now, if it feels like it's starting to get dry, I will water it. But because you don't know how the soil and your plants are going to react, you do need to check things before you just go ahead and water them. So this does not need water today. This is the north side of my property. And because it's the north side and protected, and also it's open to the storms, the soil is sufficiently moist in most of the areas, so I am not going to need to water anything down in this area, with the exception of my honeyberries. Now I'm going to water my honeyberries because they tend to try to start growing and blooming early in the spring, and I want them to be able to produce fruit. And I don't think I could really actually overwater them here because they're on the middle part of a slope, and the soil is pretty well draining here. So these are ones that I will continue to water. Now here's a little mulberry that I planted this summer, and it is also going to get some water even though it's wet, because it's got a very shallow, very undeveloped root system because it's new. So I don't want it to dry out. I want it to be able to have plenty of moisture, so when it comes time to grow, it can grow healthily. It can grow into a healthy, happy tree. Now this is an area that a lot of people don't have in cold weather climates. These are my garden beds, and I have plants that are growing in them that I've been harvesting from. Now these were started in October. This is January. They're very, very slowly growing. Matter of fact, these cabbages, the heads they're forming, but they haven't quite filled out yet. So I want these to continue filling out, and I want them to continue growing. So I am going to be watering them. These were covered the last several weeks, completely covered for the last several weeks with no chance to breathe, because we were in the teens, and the teens would have adversely affected these. You can see that there looks like there's a little bit of damage. It's not actually damage, it's just that the ground had been frozen for a while and they weren't able to access the water. But these are going to need to be watered today, so I'll be watering them. There's more plants here that I'm going to water, so they'll continue growing. And this is an area where it's going to feel like I'm going to waste water by watering it, but I'm going to water it because I plan on planting spring plants here in the beginning of March. Now I'll be able to cover them up so that they don't freeze and harden them off out here while they're being covered up. But I want the soil to stay friable. I don't want it to dry out so much that it's hard to get water in it. So when it comes time to plant those plants. So this area will be watered. We're going to water the kohlrabi in here. And this is a bed that I've got to think about. Let's look at the soil and see. You've always got to check the soil before you just automatically water. This area has little garlic. You can see they're starting to grow. And if you see the little white stuff, that's ice. This soil is frozen down a little bit, and it's really wet on the top. The straw mulch has really helped it conserve moisture. Let's look at this area without straw on it. See what it looks like. We're not going to need to water this because there's no plants, but it's still frozen. You know, if you dig down an inch, it's frozen down here, which means there's plenty of moisture. So we're not going to need to water these beds. Another one that I like to watch are my rosemary. Now, rosemary is like lavender. They're Mediterranean plants. They do need moisture over the winter. And what I found is the biggest killer of rosemary plants over the winter is if their roots are dry, then they don't have any cover like snow or mulch, and then it freezes. They need to be able to pull moisture through their branches and through their leaves when it's really, really cold. But if you can keep them hydrated, possibly keep them mulched, these are not mulched right now, but keep them mulched, or have snow cover over the top of them when it's extremely cold, and they do just fine. This rosemary right here, it was planted in 2009 and it's 2026 right now. So it's an extremely old plant. You can see where portions of it had died, but I buried the stems, and so this stem actually survived after the rest of it died. This is a new one, and we're already starting to see a little bit of winter damage on it because of how cold it was. But I've been trying to keep this wet. It's just, I should have mulched it though. But we'll see if it survives the rest of the winter. And I will probably be coming through and watering these. Now, in areas like Utah that are technically a desert and don't have access to a lot of water, I need to be extremely careful how much water I use and use it judiciously. But that doesn't mean going through and letting plants die. So you really need to check your plants, know your plant's water needs, understand whether or not the soil is wet or dry before you water. But don't let it get too dry, because you will stress your plants and you will start losing them, and that's not what we want to do. Now, I want to hear if you've had to water this winter and how you decide whether or not you need to water, and if that's typical for your area. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it has been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden with them.